This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. It's Tuesday, so we're doing a top 5 list, or more specifically, I guess you could say we're doing the second half of a top 10 list, because last week I did a video in this slot called 5 Epic Rock Vocal Performances. And I said at the time that the list that I start off with, the long list that I then narrowed down to get to the final 5 for the video, was a lot longer than was usually the case with these. So I said there's probably going to be a part 2. So that's what we're doing today. So here are 5 more epic rock vocal performances, starting with
Freddie Mercury at Live Aid.
Yes, Freddie at Live Aid. It was the performance that stole the show, wasn't it? Queen's set at Live Aid. I mean, was it Freddie's best ever vocal performance? Probably not. You can find plenty of, videos on YouTube, vocal coach reacts to, those sort of things, where they're reacting to Freddie's performance. And many can find, technical and technique faults with the way Freddie was singing on that day, but that does not matter. It was simply the performance of a lifetime, just the way he absolutely owned that stage and owned the gig. Really, I mean, who else talks about, who else gets talked about that was on that day? I mean, probably Status Quo because they opened the set, but, so many big name artists put in, performances on that day. And let's not forget that Queen were a little bit in the doldrums at the time. They hadn't had many hits, certainly from like the early 80s onwards, because Freddie had been off doing his solo thing, and they weren't really the kind of the huge band that they had been a few years earlier, but they absolutely came out and just rocked the place. I mean, how many other performances from that gig do you still hear being discussed and talked about today? So that's why Freddie's performance at Live Aid had to be on this list. Next,
George Michael at the Freddie Mercury tribute concert.
Yes, keeping the Freddie Mercury theme going. I'll be honest with you, I'm not the world's biggest George Michael fan. I'm just not. When Wham were a thing, I just completely ignored them. And to me, George Michael was just that pretty boy from that pop group that I had absolutely no interest in, and I just ignored him. But I did watch the Freddie Mercury tribute concert, and it was educational, really, because a lot of the big rock singers who were taking a turn there, big names, famous glitterati of the kind of heavier end of the music business, were really struggling when it came to turning in a decent performance on Freddie's songs. There were a lot of people there who were, you could tell, I mean, Joe Elliott from Def Leppard springs to mind. He was, he was really straining at the leash to try and sing like, or not sing like Freddie, but sing with the same range and power on, a Freddie Mercury number. And then out comes George Michael and sings Somebody to Love. And absolutely nailed it, absolutely killed it. I've linked to all of these performances down below, so go and check that one out, even if, like me, you're not a George Michael fan. I think I read in the comments to one of the videos, it might be the video that I've linked down below, actually, but I think one of the comments said it's a masterclass in how to sing a Freddie Mercury song without doing a Freddie Mercury impersonation. It completely turned my eyes open to what a great singer George Michael was, what he could have been. And I seem to remember there were rumours kind of floating around at the time. They were hotly denied, and obviously nothing ever came of it, but there were rumours floating around that maybe after a respectable kind of period of mourning, that Queen could reform with a new singer called George Michael. And after that performance, it didn't seem a ridiculous idea. So that's why this one's on the list. Next,
Graham Bonnet, Eyes of the World.
Graham Bonnet, what a voice. What a fantastic rock voice. Which is ironic, really, because he wasn't really known as a rock singer before he joined Rainbow. He was more kind of a blue-eyed soul, so I'm told. I've never heard any of his pre-Rainbow stuff, so correct me if I'm wrong. But I've got to tell you that I do like other period Rainbow. I like, kind of Man on the Silver Mountain and, 16th Century Greensleeves and kind of the earlier Dio stuff and some of the Jolene Turner stuff as well. But the only album I seem to be consistently going back to and listening to, regularly these days is Down to Earth. And a large part of that is because of, Graham Bonnet's voice. And, there's the hits on the album, I guess, Since You've Been Gone. That's one of those songs that I like, but I have to listen to it sparingly because it's, how many times have you heard it already? All Night Long. Now, there's a song where the lyrics don't exactly bear scrutiny these days in this modern day and age. But Eyes of the World and possibly Lost in Hollywood as well. I just think, Graham's performance on that, just the power and ferocity in his voice. It's almost like, I'm probably going out on a limb here, but that sort of melodic ferocity that Gary Moore used to put into his lead guitar playing, there's an element of that quality in the way that Graham Bonnet sings, I think. And I think probably the best track where this is personified is on Eyes of the World. I'll go out on a limb here again and say I think that lineup of Rainbow was the best lineup of Rainbow, and it's a shame they only lasted one album. So that performance, Eyes of the World by Graham Bonnet, absolutely fantastic, and it had to be on the list. Next,
Roger Daltrey, Won't Get Fooled Again.
Yes, Roger Daltrey, indeed, one of my all-time favourite rock singers, no matter what he does. Again, another album that I absolutely love listening to is that Going Back Home album that he did with Wilco Johnson, when Wilco thought he had literally weeks to live. Fantastic album, and Roger is one of those singers that the older he's got, his voice has, some rock singers, they just can't cut it anymore, and we kind of cut them a lot of slack because of who they are and their heritage and everything. You don't have to do that with Roger, and I would say probably Won't Get Fooled Again is my favourite Who song, and it's just that scream that Roger comes out, I forgot his name, that he comes out with as we're kind of going into the meat of the song. It's absolutely blood curdling, and just the power of his voice on this. Again, there's just such kind of authority in the way that he sings, and I absolutely love this song. And as I say, if I had to put a Roger Daltrey song on here, and he is one of my favourite rock singers, then I think it would have to be Won't Get Fooled Again. So there you go. Next,
Claire Tori, The Great Gig in the Sky.
Yes, possibly saving the best till last. Claire Tori, who's she? Well, she is the lady who sang that, I guess you'd call it scat singing vocal on Pink Floyd's The Great Gig in the Sky. From what I still think of to this day as being the last track on side one of Dark Side of the Moon. Completely improvised. She had no idea what she was going to do. The backing track, I believe, I'm recalling an interview that she gave, was already done, and they just wanted a vocal part putting on it, and there were no lyrics. So she just went in and just busked it and just sang that, and really didn't think that she'd done a particularly good job. It was like, I'm wondering if, I seem to remember she was saying that she was wondering if she was going to get paid for that session. But dear me, go and listen to that, and listen to the power and the range and the intimacy. It kind of draws you in and it washes over you, and it's just an utterly epic rock performance. And the only person I think that's ever come close to equaling this was a lady who was on the list last week, Sam Brown, because she did she was a session singer, and I think she did either the Pulse tour with Pink Floyd or the Momentary Lapse of Reason tour, or Delicate Sound of Thunder, wasn't it? That was the live album from that period, and she turned in a pretty good performance of it, but the original is still the best. And I'm not aware that I know of anything else that Claire Tori has ever sung on, but dear me, what a performance, and a career-defining performance, really. And, it's, if you're a session singer and someone says to you, well, what have you done? And you can point to that, then, that's a bit of a feather in your cap, isn't it? So, there you go, the one bringing up the rear there, Claire Tori, with her abstract, scat-sung vocal performance, improvised vocal performance on Pink Floyd's The Great Gig in the Sky. Those are another 5 of my favourite epic rock vocal performances. Let me know if you have any suggestions that you think I've missed, or if you disagree with any that are on this list here. We're all allowed to have our own tastes, and that's half the fun of doing these lists. I like to see what people's reactions are to them in the comments section below. So there you go, folks, that is the video for today. Hope you've enjoyed what you've seen and found it relatively entertaining, and if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so, and why not drop me a like while you're at it as well. Don't forget, as always, the live stream every Friday 5 p.m. UK time, where we drink beer and talk about music and guitars. A great way to kick off the weekend. I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.